Hey guys, stick with me. This might be a second, it might be a little jarbled, but I promise you, or I hope, that once I explain what I'm studying today, that you're going to be as excited as I am about it and as hope-filled as I am about it. Backstory. I've been studying what it means to be a wise woman or a good wife, and I don't really know. I'm a little overwhelmed. I left my calling, my passion, as a ministry leader and a biblical counselor to support my husband in these goals. And yeah, there's a lot of backstory behind that, but whatever. But in the last year and a half, I have failed miserably at it. So I'm trying to study, okay, so what does this look like? What am I supposed to do? I don't know. So I'm digging into the Bible, studying what it means to be a good wife, what it means to be God-honoring wife, woman, mother, all of those things. And it's taken me to wisdom and what it means to be a wise woman. And so now I'm studying all the ways in which wisdom was cultivated and wisdom was looked at. I just finished Joseph, now I'm moving on to King Solomon. And here's what I got. King Solomon, if you look in First Kings chapter 2, King Solomon was always wise. He always had some sort of wisdom about him. That wisdom, the word that they used to use for wisdom means a skill, a learning-based understanding. King Solomon was smart. He knew a lot. He studied a lot. That made him wise. And when he took over the kingdom, King David charged him to do quite a bit of things, clean up some loose ends, which pretty much meant killing people. You know, that's how it went back then. And he says, "You're a man of wisdom. I know you're going to do the right thing." This is what he charges Solomon. So years later, now we get into chapter 3 of 1 Kings. Solomon is feeling the weight of all of this responsibility. And so he goes to a high place, which he should not have been at, to offer a bunch of sacrifices to God. He offered 1,000. And that night, God comes to him in a dream and he says, "Ask for whatever you want and I'll give it to you." And so obviously if you're at a high place and you're offering 1,000 sacrifices, you definitely want something from God, right? And I want you to feel the weight of Solomon's response to God's response to those sacrifices. He says, "Now, Lord my God, you have made your servant king in place of David. But I am only a little child, and I don't know how to carry out my duties," right? "Your servant is here among the people you have chosen, a great people, too numerous to count or number." And here's what he asks. He says, "So give your servant a discerning heart to govern your people and to distinguish between right and wrong. For who is able to govern this great people of yours?" Don't you feel like that sometimes? Like, who can even manage this life? I just had a crying fit yesterday because who can manage this life? And God replies to Solomon, "I will do what you have asked. I will give you a wise and discerning heart." But Solomon already had wisdom, right? That's what I said. Well, let's go back and look. No, Solomon had a skill based on learning. He was a learned wise man. But that's not what Solomon needed to be able to govern God's people, to be able to discern between right and wrong. He didn't need learning wisdom. That was important and that helped Solomon. But what he needed was the kind of wise that God gave him. And that word for wise is completely different than the word used. I'm gonna set my phone down because I'm like shaking because I'm so excited. Hold on. Does this work? Okay, this is perfect. So the word wise that God gave Solomon wasn't a learned based wisdom. What it was, listen to this. It's Fear of the Lord, or fear really means being in awe of, devoted to, given all in. So being all in for the Lord, and an understanding based on that leads to effective moral action. So what he gave Solomon was this faith-based, deeply spiritual, intuitive, Holy Spirit driven wisdom. So this is just a new step. This is a whole different chapter for Solomon in his life. His wisdom got him this far, but it didn't get him to where he needed to go to manage his God-given responsibilities of leading this huge people, of managing this enormous life, this calling. Solomon asks for what he thinks he needs, but then God gives him what he really needs, which is this deep, faithful understanding of who God is. That's exciting. We think that there's one thing for wise. No, there's wise in your own eyes, and there's wise according to the world standards, according to culture, according to our learning. But then there's also wise, which is the wise that comes from your spirit, that comes from God himself. This ability to know what's right and wrong, this moral compass based on your faith and based on your love for who God is. So here's what I realized for myself, for you guys. I hope this helps you. To get through this life, we need more than just our wisdom based on our skills, based on our understanding. This is for men and women, for children, for everyone. We need more than that. To get through the weight of loving our families, ladies, when they're unlovable sometimes, of disciplining our kids instead of punishing our kids in anger, and instead of managing our finances according to culture and making what we have work and being content with what we have. In our culture now we have to not just do all that. Now we have to manage our careers and all the responsibilities that go along with that, and keep our homes our priority at the same time. It's an impossible task. I couldn't manage it. I quit my jobs just to go to school and to learn more about God, to learn more about counseling people and helping people, because I can't even hold a freaking job at Starbucks because I can't manage the tension between home life, spiritual life, and career life. It's hard. Ladies, we need more than our skills, our understanding, and what the world tells us is right. We need God's understanding. We need a deep spiritual, divine awe, passion, and connection with God that leads us to this effective, moral, truly right action and behavior. I promise you, we can't manage this life on our own. I know I personally cannot manage this life on my own, and I'm still trying to manage this life on my own. And if we can understand this concept, and I'm still blown away by it. If we can manage this concept of what true wisdom is, this godly wisdom, then how our lives kind of play out is gonna change. The trajectory of how we manage everything in our life is gonna change. There will be a shift from us, from the world, onto God. And there's tons more that goes along with this. I'm still studying. I'm going to be studying for a while. I promise you I'm writing as I'm studying. It's just not a cohesive package, so I feel weird like posting it. Just, you know what? I'm going to let you go. I'm going to let you get about your day. I hope this helped you guys, and I promise you I'm praying for you. If you're watching this, I'm praying for you to understand what it means to be wise in God's eyes, and to use your devotion for him to shift all of your decisions and all of your responsibilities. You guys have a great day. We'll see ya.